name's Dee and welcome to Untitled Tarot. Now this is a general reading for your star sign, for Sun, Moon or Rising. As it's detailed in the title, it's a bulk introduction for all 12. So as ever, there will be a time signature down below, so you can skip ahead to the reading because you really want to watch 3 of them if you can. Sun sign, obviously. And moon sign is highly relevant, especially with this being a lunar eclipse. And your rising sign was the most important sign in ancient astrology, so that's one to go for as well. If you're not familiar with what your moon and rising sign is, there is a link in the chart below. I'm not going to spend too much on the astrology of this lunar eclipse, apart from it's 2020. It's big, because of course it is. It's 2020. And I've also done a video with astrologer David Fisher, which you should find a link to that down below as well. As for other housekeeping about links down below, there's also a link to the Facebook page for this channel where you can contact me directly if you're wanting me for a personal reading. Plus I post all of these videos and I post all the astrology videos that I'm watching, the weather report style readings. So general reading rules apply. You know, this time is hardly absolute. With a lunar eclipse, they say it can last up to 3 months, sometimes a month before and 2 months afterwards. With a solar eclipse, which of course we're having in 2 weeks, then that can be more of a 6-month cycle. So, you know, take that under advisement as you're listening to the reading. It's a full moon gods at play reading, obviously, because that's what I do for the full moon. So by their very nature, they are dramatic. That's the whole design of the reading. I'll discuss that more when I bring the cards up. But first, I just want to spend a moment looking at the symbols of the degrees where this full moon is taking place. So it's occurring at 9:29 a.m. GMT. So amend that time for your time difference from GMT, for your time zone, sorry, I should say. At 8 degrees 37 minutes of Gemini. So in terms of the symbol, that is the 9th degree of Gemini. So if we look at the inside degrees, for the actual moon itself, we have wildflowers growing around the ruins of a temple. Now the interpretation of this is really nice. Catching a second wind, taking a booster rocket from one cycle to another, one lifetime to another, or one whole stage in evolution to another. Now that sounds great, phenomenal. And we could certainly use that with everything that's been going on. So, shot out of a cannon to discover the next great thing. You are wildly attentive to signs and portents, looking for a way to the future. Well, you're watching this, aren't you? So, coming out of immense soul experience with flying colours leaping forth into the new. Enthusiastic, naive and impressionable, eager for 1,000 universes to come true. Now, there's a really interesting point. We have Neptune stationing during this full moon. So at the same time, it is squaring the nodes. So the power of the future is causing a tension with your dreams. So you may be forced closer towards the truth, you know, an objective truth, whatever that is, or even further into your dreams, where really you want to try to balance reality in your dreams. The whole idea of a square is that you find a creative solution using both aspects of that, both ends, like using Neptune and the North Node, using how you're setting your future with your dreams. Anyway, to continue the symbol, enthusiastic, naive and impressionable. I already said that, didn't I? You feel the ultimate springtime quality of fresh immediacy and wind-blown alacrity, just sensing all through body and soul, the possibilities, the openings, what wants to happen next. A destiny bearer, universal in spirit and in the right place at the right time for the remarkable synchronicities and huge turnarounds. That offers a lot of hope. But then again, it could, with it being the eclipse, this is the That's the image of the degree that is being obscured, where the moon is going into this degree and then all light from the moon disappears. So that's the ideal use of this degree. But there's a double edge to that, that unless you're really making the effort, you won't get to use the power of that degree, because the moon obviously is eclipsed. But the good news is it's only a partial eclipse, so you do still get some light from the moon, so you do still get some of the energy from this degree. But what was interesting is the opposing degree, 8 degrees Sagittarius. I'll come back when I can learn to speak. Where the sun is shining and is casting its light, the light that is partially obscured by the shadow of the earth when it hits the moon. So we have, for inside degrees, a man with green skin. He is dressed with leaves. Playful, exuberant, spontaneous and elusive, you are restless under constraint, with all of civilization representing constraint. You're desperate to be free. When not held down, you have spectacular abilities and affinities, but when bound by time, you become abrasive and provoking. Temperamental in extreme ways, aching for free movement in a vast territory, drawn to every extreme that exists. Here we see again that power of Neptune being stationary. It actually turns stationary on the, well, becomes stationary, I should say, on the day of the full moon. The body and soul of one who can never be identified, tamed or narrowed. You are the one who knows how deep the earth is, surging with volatile currents, and these bear all hope and promise if they are followed with open arms. The one who shows everybody what life is like when it lets itself go and contagiously ripples, with permission and encouragement for each and all to come out and play and explore the far edges, and even perhaps over those edges into the greater wilderness, claiming the allegiance of those whose wildness is no passing whim, but the only viable way. So again, we've got that double edge. We've got that power of Neptune going on. Are you going to dive deeper into your echo chamber? Are you going to dream a better future? Are you going to be able to look at reality and make those dreams into reality and not just think that you're in those dreams? You know, there's all sorts of different levels here. This is very much a decision time. It's a preparatory time. We are coming up to the Great Conjunction, which, as I saw in one video going, well, it's only every 20 years, but it's part of a far larger cycle. The Saturn-Jupiter conjunction is the first time it's occurring in an air sign, and now for the next 200 years or so, it will be occurring in air signs. So we've got what's called a mutation, a great shift into air, a great shift into being more intellectual, more informed, and possibly a little less emotional, for good or for ill. You know, there's no one's going to say that there is anything wrong with emotions. They have their place. They are vital to how we function. But in the meantime, this is a house clearing time to sort out, hang on a minute, what am I wanting to achieve here, and what do I no longer need to achieve it? And that's definitely an empowered negative statement. What do I need to dispose of in order to achieve what I'm wanting to achieve? Now, this degree is ruled by, if I remember correctly, it's ruled by Rochelle, who is an angel all about restitution and finding lost objects. So again, there's the lost objects, not as the things that you're getting rid of, but the things that you are making space for. Now, opposing this, Yehuya, who I did not actually just draw the meaning up for. Let's see, Yehuya, where we got? So, Yehuya, now here's a good one. Revealing the dark side or subordination to higher order. Now, again, there's two ways. Considering we had that image all about rebellion and trying to find freedom, there's two ways you can see that higher order. Are we talking about a mundane higher order, a higher order that is existing here on the planet, or are we talking more to a more esoteric, spiritual submission to the higher order of the divine? And again, that choice is slowly being presented to us by each individual piece being brought up to our attention, each individual piece of our dreams, piece of our belief systems, piece of our day-to-day life, day-to-day practice being brought up to go, you know, do I really need this? And either answer is okay, but you have to ask the question. So either answer is like, no, I don't need this anymore. Its time has passed. That's fine. Or yes, this is essential for what I want to accomplish. This is essential for me being whom I want to be. And it will enable us to love our own process more, if that makes sense. And the reason I say that is ruling the decan that this eclipse is occurring in on the moon side is the goetic spirit Ammon. Certainly in the day it is Ammon, and at night it is Sabnok. So here for the northern hemisphere, well, if it's daytime and Ammon is ruling it wherever it is, and if it's nighttime it's Sabnok. So looking at Ammon is a goetic spirit who can be very much about love. Can be used or can be appealed to in love magic that gives aid in divination. So Ammon's energies can certainly help us try and see the future with a little bit more clarity. And this is interesting. Ammon gives aid in divination and helps the sorcerer get in touch with her true will. So it's not just my vision for the future, my dream for the future under all that Neptunian influence. It's going, hang on a minute, this dream I've got of the future, is this what I really want? Is it one of these, I think someone called them on a video I was watching recently, false beliefs? You know, because you get brought up to be told that you need to be a doctor or a lawyer, and if you're not those, then you're not good enough. Or that everybody needs the house and 2.5 kids and the car. Or, you know, all of these beliefs that are what society or family or whoever or the TV tells you that you want, when actually is, no, I want to ride on horseback on a ranch in the middle of nowhere. I want to spend my life hosting a YouTube channel. I want to spend my life living in the forest and caring for the forest. Or I really want to get involved in social work, tapestry, you know, knitting, you know, whatever it is that really floats your boat. You have to be able to say, yeah, hang on a minute, that floats your boat. I've been fighting for the past 10 years to save enough money to put a mortgage down on this house, and I don't even want to be a homeowner. I want to be free. I want to do what free people do. You know, there's really diving down to go, okay, I want the house and the car, or I don't want the house and the car. I want happiness. I want success in business. I want success in love. I want to make my friends' lives better, my clients' lives better. I want to paint things. You know, whatever it is that you want, just learning to be honest about what it is that you want and then going for it. Now, Sabnok, what have I got on Sabnok? Not a lot of information. Now, he builds high towers and castles and cities on the astral plane. So he's all about constructing. If you know anything about creative visualization, which is often covered under nowadays under like law of attraction. You visualize a situation, a condition, whatever it is that you're wanting to bring into being, and you visualize it so hard, is that the way to say it, that you are believing yourself in it and you are knowing that it is already real. That is building a castle on the astral plane, which is exactly what Sabnok is doing. So Amon is helping you identify what you want to build, or if the eclipse is happening during nighttime for you, Sabnok is helping you build the vision of it and therefore be calling that into your future. Assuming, of course, you're taking the advantage to, well, to clear out the stuff that you do not need. Now, there was another thing that I wanted to go back to, the 8 degrees Gemini symbols. Yes, the 8 degrees Gemini symbol for the the Omega symbol, a ruby growing in a laboratory, laboratory, however you say it. So even though fake, but not fake, it's still a ruby. It's beautiful, it's crystalline, and I personally love red. I mean, I wear a lot of garnet. Ruby is actually, I prefer garnet to ruby, but ruby has such a depth and motion to it with that red color, with that red vibration of moving forward with things. But this is not so much about moving forward, this lunar eclipse. This is about preparing to move forward and knowing which way forward is. There's not much more that I want to say. Obviously, if this has been useful for you, like, share and subscribe. I'm sure I'll say that at the end of the reading as well. But also, now you can breathe a sigh of relief and press the timestamp thing, get to the readings. I'll bring the cards up for you. Okay, Sagittarius. So this top row here represents the masks worn by the archons as they are trying to keep you vibrating in fear and misery and separate from your divine nature, purpose, however you want to express it. And this bottom row represents the gods themselves trying to lift you up to that connection to your destiny, your divine purpose, your divine self, God, however you want to look at it. Now, I'll just go through who we have here. So, working against you, or the archons, the beings who the archons are pretending to be working against you, we have Maui with discovery, Pan with nature, the Muses with inspiration, Dear Woman with temptation, and Aries with warmongering. But bear in mind, that row, that's not the gods. That's the archons pretending to be the gods. So they act against your interest. Here on the bottom, we have two of the greatest champions of humanity, if you think about it. Prometheus here with altruism and Pandora with hope. Now, there's no one really more human than Pandora because she opened the box. But the last thing she gave to the world was hope. Then we have Hathor, who is a reminder to notice the things that we have in our life that give us joy. And Hell here, with the phrase concealment, but it's really one of the phrases with this card is, you know what you're hiding. And I think that is an element of, yeah, you know what you're hiding, you know what needs to be removed in some form of spring clean. I think is a good way to say it. And finally, we have Perseus with gifts. Now, there's quite a few energies here, but there seems to be one overriding message. Let's talk about the story that the archons are offering you to start off with. Basically, it's an appeal to your lower nature, maybe with something new, something novel, something revelatory, but it's an appeal to your lower nature, and it runs the risk of being combative. Now, a lot of these full moon readings so far have shown that there is some form of mob mentality going on, some form of call to action, which is false. Call to action by inspiring anger through half a story. Now we can see that here with the presence of Aries, but it's not. It's almost like the revelation that other readings have shown. It doesn't matter to you. It's something that is appealing to something far more fundamental to you, and I don't mean fundamental in a good way, you know, far more bestial. But it's got that novelness about it. It's got that bit that makes you tingle. We've got the muses here in a pose like they're just filling in for Destiny's Child. And they, it's almost like you are being of course, inspiration. That's your revelation. That's your, look, this is what needs to happen. Look, this is where you need to go to war. And won't it feel so good? Won't you just be expressing yourself the way that you really want to? Won't you be strong? Won't you be virile? Won't you be able to enjoy all the new stuff, a whole new world? And no, I refuse to have that song go off in my head. But yeah, whole new world. Now let's see what the gods have got to offer. The path that they are saying is, no matter what else is going on, there is hope, there is light, there is safety. We have 3 angel cards out of the Oracle in Heaven and Hell. The Ualia with prosperity, Hahaia with refuge, and Airathel with propagation of light. And interestingly, Airathel has Renove on the bottom of the card, who was a demon that used to go around the world spreading peace and diplomacy, which is probably why he ended up getting demonized, because the kings wouldn't like that. Now, there is something where you are being inspired to create something new, because for the 3rd, 4th time in these this month's readings, we have the guardian angel of young adults. I am guided and protected as I begin to choose my path in life. So there is a decision time coming up for you of basically whether you go along with your lower nature or whether you go along with your higher nature, whatever that might mean for you. Because if you aim to go along with your higher nature, you are creating that propagation of light. You are going to bring prosperity to yourself and others. That's one with altruism, Prometheus with altruism here starting. There is basically, there's no way here for you to benefit just yourself. You either benefit yourself and others, or you are quite possibly having a whale of a time that will end up being incredibly hollow and incredibly empty at the end of it. Because nothing here, the thing with the temptation that Dear Woman offers, the people who fell for Dear Woman's temptation, it was a test that she gave them, and if they failed the test, then they ended up chopped up into little bits or some such, you know. But it didn't end well for them. She would try and tempt them, and if they fell for that temptation, then yeah, they would pay. And I think that temptation is the jumping on some form of bandwagon, not just on the strength of this reading, but on all the full moon readings that I've done so far, because it's come through again and again and again. But I'm really attached to the way that Pandora is sat or lying on whatever sofa, couch thing that she's on, holding her box to her. She's wistful, she's thinking of nice things, but she's also planning. She's planning how to move forward. And that how to move forward has to be based on the things that give you joy. Hathor is a goddess of the sky, so we've got that expansive element, but also a goddess of music, the arts, all those things that make you feel good. Dance, that was the other thing, that make you feel alive. Now that, you may think, is an interesting term when we've got a goddess of death right next to her, Hel. But if you look at the picture on this card, she is coming straight out of her cave to see, probably for the first time in a long time, the light of the sun. And what Hel is saying is, whatever that you are actually hiding, either get rid of it or release it to the world. Show, yeah, I've got this. Whatever that means. That might well be a possession. It might well be a fact. It might be an issue that you have been nursing and you've kept quiet, and you are being called to go, hang on a minute, I'm hurting here. And this is why, because there is if you take that brave step and come into this expansive new world where we see Hel coming out of her cave into the world that's under the sky of Hathor, the sky of dance, of music, of art, of joy, then, I mean, I was reading about Hathor. There was temples to Hathor, little temples to Hathor, outside of the temples to the other major gods, so that people could go in to worship the other major gods in a good mood because they've been to the temple of Hathor first, and therefore what they were giving these other gods was their joy. And that's beautiful. What a beautiful concept. And this is what you are being asked to give, joy. So I think that this appeal to your lower nature, one, we know it could easily be warlike, you know, it could easily be aggressive, it could easily be more of a trying to conquer than a trying to share nature, and you don't have to fall prey to that. Right, let's see what the tarot have got to add to it, because I'm on 10 minutes already. Okay, so we start with the Hanged Man with the discovery. Right, so some form of confusing discovery that also makes you go, okay, well, I have the opportunity to level up here. But the leveling up is as if you are a clubber and you're stepping up your game while you're with all the negative connotations of stepping up your game. There's inspiration to say that there is profit in this warmongering thing going forward, and that you are being tempted to try and protect everything you have to go to war. But it is illusion and obfuscation. It is not serving a balance. Whereas with the altruism aspect, taking Prometheus's nature on, they're trying to help people, you don't know how it's going to turn out. But I think that you will find that sticking to that hope means that you don't have to act to cut people off where you need, where you may have thought that you needed to. You only need to take the action as and when it feels right. And you can take joy, this joy that Hathor is offering, this joy that I would say, you might be sat there going, well, what's joyful? Well, I don't know. What do you find joyful? Do some of that and then spread the joy, share that joy. And if you're short on joy, make sure you make some. Do something that will help you feel alive and help you see the blessings. There's plenty of curses around. See the blessings. You know, that, oh, I'm going to go all hippie new agey and say attitude of gratitude. I hate that phrase, but it's true. Count your blessings, I think is probably a better way to put it. I know I like to call myself a professor of woo-woo, but there's limits. Right, so stop being blind to those things that you are hiding, that you are keeping on to, and release them, whether that means getting rid of them or opening them up to the light of day, because you will find that you will have progress and there's other people to help you. You will have any refuge if you need it, and you may well need it with all this warmongering business going on along the top. But the refuge comes with now with added prosperity and propagation of light. Um, Local terms and conditions may apply, but definitely there's reveal going for the joy, sharing the joy, and actually, if there is something that you need to reveal it in that joyful space. You're not bringing the mood down. You're making sure that you, most importantly, and other people around you are in an altruistic mood to accept what you're saying and go, okay, then let's see what we can do about that. You know, and not making it any heavier than that. You know, we're not wanting to delve into stuff in like oh, and then there was this, and then there was this. You know, like a huge. It's with Hathor. It's a softer healing. It's like a flower slowly unfolding and blossoming, rather than pull everything to bits and then trying to build it back together again. No, whatever you may be called to release with this Hell card is, yep, I've got this. And which the response of the world will be, okay then, fair enough. And then it just slowly is replaced by the good stuff. So whether you call that a form of healing or just a form of distraction, doesn't matter, it works. On the bottom of the deck we have Seven of Swords. So everything here is highly strategic. You reaching for the joy is strategic. As I said, Pandora was planning. And this call to war is highly strategic. And you have to ask, whose strategy is that? So this whole bottom row is going, okay, I don't want to go, oh, it's a new beginning. But I mean, it's an eclipse. It's a new beginning of something. But there is an element of, you can introduce something new into your life, or no, you can introduce a slightly new way into your life where you're focusing a little bit more on the joy stuff and just, I suppose with what I'm saying with Hell, it's like show some vulnerability, which would make sense of the refuge influence of Hahaya. But showing that vulnerability works in your favour here, as long as you are not getting swept up with this warmongering malarkey on the top row. Okay, so if that means anything to you, Sagittarius, please do comment down below. Obviously, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. But yeah, it'd be really interesting to hear if this is a situation that's already coming into being for you. Because I think there's certainly it's going to be either an interesting month or an interesting 3 months. I think lunar eclipses are supposed to last 3 months. The lunar eclipse energy can inspire events within the following 3 months. So, like I said, my normal tarot readings, timing's not absolute with this sort of stuff. Even with the diving into astrology. But yeah, good luck, Sagittarius. And like I said, comment down below. Let me know what you think. Cheers.